Hey everyone, good morning. So it looks like we had an issue with the other stream. So I'm going to copy and paste this link for everyone. Just give me a moment. I need to edit the post and get the new link up because apparently I don't know what was going on with YouTube. So YouTube Live, the other link wasn't working. Okay, so I just gave you guys the new link and hopefully you guys will join me soon. Hey guys, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. I know 7 of you or so were waiting. And unfortunately, my YouTube Live wouldn't connect. I don't know why. Let me go ahead and see if I can go to the old YouTube Live where people are waiting, and I give them the link to the new one, and then we'll get started. I'm excited to talk about Etsy ads. I've had some time to play around with it, and I see a lot of issues, and I'm not here to be negative. Is the new stream? Please join there. Okay, so I'm not trying to be negative or anything, but I do want to bring some things to your attention that I noticed. You may notice have noticed it as well. I have some results so far. Obviously, for me, it has not been running very long at all. But you guys also have some questions. Now, I got it around a similar time that you guys have received Etsy ads. So I don't know too much, right? But I could definitely answer some questions. Hey, good morning, guys. So sorry about that, YouTube. I got nothing. I don't know why it wasn't working. I knew something was going to be up because the way it would show me how it got set up was different. When I set up the stream a few days ago, it looked different. And I'm like, what? Is this going to give me trouble? And so it did. So here we are. Good afternoon. And then good morning. So we'll get started in just a moment. I have a few things I want to cover. And again, like I said, I don't know everything, but I definitely have some thoughts. I have my calculator. You know it's an interesting Facebook Live or YouTube Live when I have my calculator with me, my trusty, funky calculator, because I have some things that things are not calculating properly. And so it's possible that Etsy ads is not quite fully there yet, meaning there's glitches or whatever. Don't even get me started, okay? Well, this is the point of this YouTube Live, to get me started. You do have the same calculator? Fun story, I took this from my old job. I don't know, it came home with me one day and it stayed with me from Neiman Marcus. Anyway, so I'm gonna talk about my first impressions, which there's gonna be a lot of words exchanged here. I'm gonna talk about a few things I've noticed and that you may have caught on to, maybe you haven't, but you should know what I've figured out. And again, it's not to be negative, it's to really, because you guys know I'm not a negative person, I'm a pretty positive person. I take things for what it is, and then if it is a negative situation, I try to turn it around, and which we will. You'll see during this YouTube Live. And then I'm going to be going over my results so far, and then I have some of your questions that you guys posted in the group that I want to answer. I don't know everything, right? But I'll do my best, okay? Because we all got it around the same time, you know? Good morning. Yeah, say hey down below so everything's working. People are leaving. I can see the other YouTube Live, so that's good. I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm tired apparently. I was literally rushing this morning because well, it's a long story, but good morning. All right, so why don't we get started? 50 people on this call. Let's get started. All right. Okay, so first impressions. I'm also going to have my screen up where it shows me my Etsy ads dashboard, so I could cover a few things. So I'm gonna put that up right now. You don't have to put yours up, it's fine. So you guys may have noticed that they announced it and they caused a ruckus. And then they also said that if you don't switch over, or if you're not invited to switch over or something like that, you will be automatically switched over. So then slowly but surely, people start to notice that they're being switched over. I was switched over sometime at the end of last week. I noticed it on Friday. It could have been a day before. It could have been a few days before that. I have no idea, because I know that when I checked on Monday last week, I was not switched over yet. And some of my members were like, why haven't you switched over yet? Are you scared? Are you this, are you that? I'm like, actually, no, I might be scared. But it was mostly because I had no time to switch over. I'm working on a million different things. I'm not saying it's the least of my concerns. It's important to me, my ad campaigns, but you know, I just didn't have time. And so if it was working, it's not like ads shut off. It was still working, but I just let it continue. Anyway, notice that the change happened on Friday. I already saw the Etsy dashboard, the Etsy ads dashboard, based on other members showing screenshots to me. And I'll tell you something, it really okay. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Obviously, this is the first impressions / rant in the beginning. It really pissed me off because while Etsy has been changing things back to back, we all know. Don't even get me started on what that long laundry list is. This one is probably the one that pissed me off the most. And I said to myself, Dahlia, relax. Obviously, let it, you know, let them really execute it. Let them give it to everybody. Let's see how it works out. And then you could really have, you know, have a more educated decision on what you feel about it. But I still could feel my first impressions, right? So I noticed that first, initially, you were not able to check your advertising stats for anything but the last 30 days and 12 months. And I was like, okay, I'll tell you what I think about that in a second. And then, no, I'll just tell you now. I think that's a load of bull. And then recently they added custom, okay? Custom, where you could put your own custom dates. Now you can't do anything for today. You have to do like 2 days. So you can't just do 1 day. So I could do, and I'm not clear on if I do, let's say today's the 10th, okay? If I do from the 8th to the 9th September, is it giving me just the 8th, or is it giving me both 8th and 9th? I'm not clear yet, okay? So it pisses me off that I can't see. I'm just venting right now, okay? Let me just tell you all my frustrations about it. Probably you guys can, you know, connect with me. Then we'll get into the real stuff, okay? That I don't have the tools to see and control my Etsy advertising and make educated decisions. Now, granted, that's an extreme statement. I'm sure there's some things I could do, but they've taken away some things. And here's why. Etsy has stated, I'm not going to read their crap, that you could read it, you saw it, that they stated that, oh, you guys have spoken and you guys wanted easier tools for Etsy ads and promoter listings. So you found it confusing. If you found it confusing, you should have joined my mastermind strategy group, in which we had a full training on it, okay? And even if you didn't, even if you're like, I don't want to join your group, or I couldn't afford to join your group, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of things out there that could help you. And even if you're still stuck, the reality is when you take away tools from business owners and you make things simpler, that's not, for those of you out there that are business owners, which is majority of you, if not all of you, that is not a good sign. Okay, we try to make things simpler first of all, who signed up to be a business owner and make things simpler for you? Well, actually, I can take that back. I certainly want things to be easy, but not at the expense of taking away control. Okay, by doing what they did, they essentially, I feel like they're taking away our control. Hence why we can't select my bids for each item. Granted, they said that over time the system would learn, and that if you're bidding, if you know, you get charged 30 cents for this cover, this phone cover, for each click, and over time it notices that you're not converting as well, it'll lower the amount per click, right? It's supposed to be a smart system, and it's too soon to tell, although I'll show you my results. Hi. What's up?
Really quick, for that cactus one that I made, like the funny one,
yeah,
I put it does contain inappropriate underage.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes. So it's supposed to learn over time. I will show you my results shortly. I'll be doing it on calculations, and it is it's supposed to be smart for you. But what if I want to outbid my competitors? Granted, it's not really the best strategy for other people who don't have much spending money, right? But I'm not complaining, right? I'm willing to outbid my competitors. It does give you some ease that you don't have to look after your ad campaigns. And listen, I'm all for making things a little bit easier for us, but not out of lost control. How about you make things easier for us, but show us how much you're bidding for us? Is it essentially, and then I have a question, is it essentially pretty much auto campaigns? Like, you know how you do auto bids and sometimes you don't do it, you just do custom. Is it essentially auto and we just don't see it? Because that's essentially what auto was supposed to be. It was supposed to be, you know, a bid amount that was, you know, optimized. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm like missing your comments. Let's see if I'm having any comments here. Sorry about that. Oh, hello. Sorry about that. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Lisa, they're taking almost off control. Yeah. And they said that is because they were trying to make things easier for people. But like I said, listen, I'm not hating on you if you are newer to business and if you have a lot on your plate already. Like, I get it. You probably don't need an added headache of God knows what, but in my professional opinion, amongst other people, that probably wasn't, that probably isn't the thing I would have taken away control for. Okay? There's many things you could have worked on Etsy that could have made things easier for us. However, here's one thing I noticed. Well, I already mentioned a few, but the reason why it's a no-brainer that they decide to pick that one. So like, oh, Etsy sellers really want to make it easier on them. Plus, we can make more money with it. Now, listen, I'm not hating their business. They're trying to make more money, right? I would never, maybe I would, but I would never shame any of you. I wouldn't expect you guys to shame me for trying to make more and more money. Okay, this is what we do. We're business owners. So we have to respect the hustle for them. But the way they execute it, I think, is kind of strange. And so it was a win-win for them. And they decided that, oh, Etsy sellers don't want too much control. They find it confusing. We'll take it over. We'll just pretty much hide everything from them. Hear me out. Put things on auto bid, which appears to be that way, because that's essentially the idea. Okay, when they're optimizing it for you. And we just won't show them the bids. Now I could do the math on the bids. I could take the last few days and calculate each one of my items. That's annoying. I'd rather physically see it. If you want to optimize it Etsy, why can't we just see the amount? Okay, I'll let that slide. But what I don't like is that if you look at your advertising dashboard, here's one thing I noticed, amongst, like I said, many things I just already mentioned, but one thing really in particular, this is so shady. Okay, but no, I will hate on them, even though they're business. They're business, they're here to make money. This is so shady. They decide to take my spend amount, which is, by the way, the most important thing, how much I'm spending. Okay, don't try to smoke and mirrors me. I'm not sure if that's the right, I'm not sure if that's the right, saying. By showing me how many orders I got, how many ad clicks I got, how many ad views I got, and how much money I made. That's the first thing you see on the dashboard. And guess where your ad spend is? It's little bitty up the corner left-hand side. Okay? Did you guys see it? That's crazy. What kind of tools are you giving me as a business owner if I'm not in control of making sure that my ad spend is in a good ratio with my revenue from my ads? Do I have to explain myself? I don't think so, right? But for people in the back, I will. They're hiding the ad spend in my super honest, probably factual opinion, okay? Because they're trying to get more money out of you. Now, this is not a conspiracy theory. They've said this. They've said it because they told us recently. And in their shareholders press release, I don't know what you call it. I don't care, okay? Not because I'm mad at them, but I don't remember the name. The annual report or some nonsense like that. They come out with things that they tell how they tell people how they're doing, the shareholders, and it's a public document. You could access it. How they're doing and how they plan to make money, and over and over and over again, they make it clear that they've made money and they're trying to make more money from sellers, meaning all the fees that we're paying. Think about all the fees that we pay. Okay, it's not just, oh yeah, they are overcharging me fees. No, relax yourself. It's it's 5% or 3% or whatever they're charging nowadays. It's not actually that much. But think about the other things that they tack on. If you're listening to this and you have pattern, stop. That's nonsense. Okay, that's another fee that they're taking from you. If you have that $30 a month or $40 a month plan, whatever it's called. I don't even know what you call it anymore. The Pro, the Plus, the Etsy Plus, some nonsense like that. Yeah, it looks good. Then I don't care about what they give you that gives you a few dollars extra on ad campaigns. I don't care about that. Okay, these are other ways, because essentially ads on Etsy doesn't cost them anything. Think about it. If they place your product in search and you're paying them for it, it doesn't cost them anything. Okay, so by them trying to take more money and utilize that, it's a really great way to make more money. And I'm not hating. I like ads, okay? But could you tell I'm frustrated? Hold on. And don't worry, this YouTube Live is gonna turn positive in just a moment. I'm just letting you know everything I noticed, okay? Wait till you hear my numbers. Wait till you hear some things I've calculated. And not everybody's gonna have the same calculations, I understand, but listen. So like I said, they said that this is how they make their money. They're trying to find different ways to add on fees for us and, give us like all the bells and whistles and we pay for it, all that stuff, okay? So there's your answer. So why did they do this? They did it because we find it easier. First of all, it's if you wanted to help sellers and make things easier on us, we have a laundry list of things you could do. Laundry list. Okay, I'm not gonna say them right now because we will never end here. I'm trying to make this YouTube Live very productive. But a laundry list. The fact that they chose this one because it involves making more money, I get it, they're a business, I respect, but you have to give some and take some. You have to say, okay, we've improved other things that don't particularly make us more money to really make the better experience for the sellers and make better experience for the buyers. And then we also tackle something that makes us more money. I wouldn't hate. You know me, guys. I'm very positive. I wouldn't hate. But they decided not to. I could give you many examples. For myself where I forgoed making extra money so I could take care of things that really benefit my customers. That wouldn't, and technically I guess that would in turn make me more money, but not directly. Okay? Anyway. Sorry, I just went on a tangent. Okay, what's up with my eyes? Sorry, I woke up really tired this morning. All right. Let me read the comments and we'll continue. They're taking away almost all control. Yes, I agree. I don't like the new format. It just makes me wonder what they're trying to hide with loss of control and transparency. Yes. Thank you for bringing up that word, Lisa. Transparency. It doesn't feel that way. And listen, again, if you wanted to make it easier for Etsy sellers, because Sally doesn't know how much to bid, how much to this, how much to that, provide some training for people, number one. Number two, and then if you can't or whatever, why don't you show us how much the bid amount is? Now, granted, like I said, I could do the math. I could see how much you charge me for X amount of clicks. I could do the dividing, but that takes work. Okay, it takes work for me to see also how much I spent on my ads, because it's all the way in the corner. It's all the way in the little bitty corner. Sorry, my my high-pitched voice sounds really weird. The weather is making me. Anyway, so it doesn't sound really high-pitched. Anyway, so that's what bothers me. Okay, so here's the thing: is Etsy shady as hell? Probably. And again, we'll turn this into a positive YouTube Live because we're gonna have to work with it. And that's how I am. I'm very proactive. I vent, I think about it, and then I say, okay, let's move on. That's how I roll. So if you're here hoping to keep getting some venting from me, it's gonna end shortly, okay? Because I need to move on with my business. We all do. I think we all could agree. I believe Etsy is looking out for their bottom line first. Well, absolutely. Can I just piggyback on that? I think that's clear. I think that's okay, because if Etsy so the idea is what you think would correlate is when we make money, Etsy makes money. It's not necessarily the case, but it is, but it isn't. I don't know the numbers. I can't speak for that. Right? You would think it would correlate, granted, but sometimes they do some things that are not in our best interest, meaning we are making money, but what you don't see is that your expenses go up because of advertising. Okay. Anyway, so it looks like you're making more money, but it's all a facade. Okay. So, and to piggyback on that one last time, absolutely. The end of the day, I can't run my business properly unless I make money first. right? We all could agree. And I don't want to hear anybody telling me otherwise, meaning, no, Dahlia, I would do this and I would do that. And then you're barely making profit. No go. Okay. So I understand why they're doing it. However, I'm not running Etsy. I feel like there's better ways to execute it. I think most of us could agree. Some of us may agree, but don't know how, but it's possible. I know that they could run a very transparent and honest business, and somehow and listen, they're trying to keep up with everyone else and doing this and don't get me started. All right. So, Lisa, I think what this really is just a forced transfer of Google Ads responsibility. Oh, yes, I didn't mention that yet. Thank you for mentioning Google Ads from Etsy to sellers. Most of us hate them and don't want to pay for Google Ads. Correct. They've said in their shareholders meeting that they want to spend their ad dollars on TV ads, on Google Ads. Thank you. I did not know that. Like I said, I don't know everything. So thank you. And just to point out the whole Google Ads thing. Now, I don't know everybody's results from Google Ads. I actually had a horrible, okay, that's a word, horrible results from Google Ads. Horrible. I turned that thing off, right? Some people I'm sure had really good results because I've heard people say it. Great. But they are very clear that they're trying to merge both Etsy ads and Google. And again, it feels a lack of first of all, if I created my own business, I'll tell something right now, it's for more control in my life. Maybe I didn't notice it in the beginning. Maybe I thought, oh, I want to craft a little bit. Like, I get it. But recently, I realized, not recently, it was several months ago, but again, I saw it again when I thought of something that I realized that my business gives me something that I absolutely love. It's my freedom. Okay, in different manners. In fact, I told my friend when I saw her over the weekend, I said, let's go on a girls' trip. And she's like, you're always busy, you're always traveling. I'm like, first of all, that's not true, but thank you. That sounds amazing. I'm not always traveling. I do travel a little bit more than the average person, I guess, but not really. Okay, maybe like 3 times a year. I'm not sure if that's more than the average person, but I don't know. But I'm going to include one more trip for me and her in the beginning of the year. We're just going to do a long weekend. Okay, not a big deal. But I thought to myself, I'm like, that's awesome that I could do that, and I did it to get my freedom, okay, and control of my life, and control of my business and how I make money, right? Because I can control if I make $500,000 this year or $250,000 or $1 million, right? The fact that they're taking away control doesn't feel right. Now, granted, Etsy, I don't own Etsy. It's an online selling market, so we don't own these platforms. Don't even get me started on diversification, but that's why it doesn't feel right. Okay. So yeah, and so I don't know that they want to spend their ad dollars on TV. I will tell you that when they first rolled out TV ads, I was not impressed with them. I felt like they were targeting crafters, and if I'm not mistaken, this was after that their craft Etsy section failed. I'm not sure. Listen. First of all, I'm all for them trying to advertise because their buyer base is not impressive. You might say, Dahlia, it's in the millions. Yeah, but it's still not impressive. Okay? I'm not impressed by their buyer base. So there you go. Anyway. And have you guys ever seen their Facebook ads and such? They're horrible. They're horrible, their Facebook ads. Like, I'm not an expert in Facebook ads, but I know they're horrible. Especially when you have mostly sellers commenting, putting their shop names in there. But let me find out it's one of you guys, okay? Anyway, Gemma says, my PL, promoted listings, seems to stop doing anything even though they hadn't switched over to ads yet. So I switched myself. It's working well. It's only been a few days. Hey, that you can't see much data. Yes, I will go over my results in just a moment. I called them to ask about transparency for sellers with daily stats and bids, and even the rep was shocked. They said she submitted a feature request, but I doubt anything will come of it. So that's a really good point. Why is there a random... Oh, my Amazon package is here? Speaking of online selling platforms. So it's like a random white van parked in front of my house. Anyway, so that's interesting because I'm sure that they're going to start upgrading features on it. I don't know what's going to come of it because a long time ago, like 2 weeks ago, they didn't have custom time frame, and now they do. So it's possible, okay? Don't get me started. Yeah, don't get me started. I really do need a shirt that says "Don't get me started." It's like, yeah, here's a whole bunch of Amazon packages. Or is it for my neighbor? I'm not sure if I ordered anything. Nope, it's for my neighbor. Okay. So if Etsy wants me to pay for something, I would gladly pay for a third variation. Thank you. When I said don't get me started on what else they could be doing that could be helping conversion rates. Instead of customers asking me, where do I put this? Where do I put that? Okay. I feel like I've kept the majority of you, so I guess you do like me venting about what's wrong with Etsy, but don't worry, this isn't going to turn into positive, regardless if you like it or not, because we do have to learn how to work with this. Okay? Damn, what does she order? Okay, anyway. Have I appeared on Shark Tank? No. That would be no. Actually, my daughter wants me to apply, but I have no interest in some multimillionaire controlling my business. They'd make me work harder than I already am, and I'm not interested in that. Anyway, Google Ads are a total cash drain on Etsy. That's what they want. It's so sad. Okay, so got caught up. Now let's discuss a few things I noticed. I mentioned that. Okay, so now that I vented, you might see a couple more vents later, depending on what's going to come up. Let's talk about some productive things, right? So the first thing I told you I noticed is that the spend amount is all the way to the corner. Not smart. So here's what I want you guys to do. Everyone watching this right now, either you write it down or you grab your phone out and you're going to do this. Everyone. And don't tell me, don't ignore this just because you're like, I have a good handle on things and have a good, nope, everyone. I want you to go on your phone and set an alarm to at least check your ad campaigns once a month. Now, if you're like, I don't got much money to spend, and I don't want to screw me over. If you're worried about your ad spend, then I want you to do two things. I want you to go in and set your alarm to remind you to check Etsy ads every 2 weeks. So maybe every other Friday or every other Thursday. You decide when is the best time. And by the way, we're all so busy. It's never a really good time to do it. But I want the alert to pop up and make noise so you don't miss it. Okay? And make sure it's during like work hours. Don't be doing it like 3 a.m., right? Yeah, and then you'll cut it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I put the or between both names.
Yeah.
For the RSVP.
Yeah. So that's number one. And number two, I want you to go in to your daily budget and put it into an amount that you feel comfortable with, assuming that it is spent the whole entire amount. So granted, when we spend money per day on ads, your budget, you would hope that if you spend $50 a day, you make 5 times that amount or more, okay? That's great. But assuming the worst, how much are you comfortable with spending a day? At least for 2 weeks. Change it to that amount until we get a good handle on what it's going to do for you. So after the 2 weeks or 2 times 4 weeks, you would see how it's doing. Then you could increase your budget to something like, okay, I'm seeing that's performing really well, around 17% cost to revenue ratio. I'm going to increase my bid amount until you're comfortable. So like I said, if you're like balling with money, most of us are not, but if you're like, no, I'm comfortable, set it to an amount you're generally comfortable with, put the alarm for once a month, okay? But if you're like, nope, kind of tight, can't allow Etsy to go too crazy on me because I'm a little tight on cash, then do 2 things. Set it to every 2 weeks, do it right now, and then change your budget to something that you're willing to spend if you don't make much from it at all to 2 weeks. Here's why. Now, granted, you could check it more often than 2 weeks. You might be checking it every day. That's fine, but still follow those instructions. That's the first thing we're going to do, okay? Everybody on the same page? Love it. Let me take a sip of this. So here's the thing. I want to make sure that they took away some control, but I'm going to try to see how I can help you. And I don't know everything, like I said. So if you guys have any suggestions, put it in the comments. I'm going to try to help you figure out how we could gain some control. Okay? How we could gain some control. So let's go back. Now, another thing I noticed, okay, Etsy, is that you have the custom amount, and I told you can't check how much you spent for today. It seems to be impossible because you have to do a range. You have to pick a range. So today's the 10th. I have to pick from the 9th to the 10th. So let's do the 9th from the 10th. Okay, September 9th to 10th. Again, picking from September 9th to 10th, so a 2-day range. I don't know if that means excuse me. I don't know if that means I it only gives me the 9th, or it gives me the 9th as well as what I already spent for today. I don't know. How will I know the answer to that? Well, later on the day, I could check if that spend amount, which is currently at $45, I could check if it went up. Okay, you could do the same. You don't have to wait for me to tell you. You could say, okay, what is my, do the 9th from the 10th, so yesterday to today, and you can see how much you currently have spent. Write that down. Right now, the time is 9:39 a.m. And then later on the day, we can confirm whether or not it has went up. Meaning, when you have a custom range, it includes that last day. My assumption is it does. Okay, I'm not 100% sure. We're here to confirm. Okay. If anybody already has confirmed, you can let me know in the comments. Now, another thing I noticed is that some calculations are off. Let's talk about what I mean. So when I go and I see that I spent $45, okay, oh wait, was it the 40? Yes, it was the $45. Wait, was it the $45 or was it the revenue from ads? It was the revenue that was off. Okay, so let's do the revenue. So you could sort by either ad views, clicks, orders, revenue, or budget spent. I'm going to do revenue right now. However, your most important tool in the beginning is to sort by budget spent. Why? So then you could do the math, since they're not doing it for you anymore. Actually, no, they never did the math for you. You have to always do the math to see how much you're spending versus the revenue. So by sorting through budget spend, you can see the highest amount you spent on something, and pretty much divided by your revenue to see how much your cost to revenue ratio is, okay? But I'll tell you some beef that I noticed, all right? Hear me out. I put the custom date range from 9th to the 10th, okay? So yesterday and today. Today's not even over. And it shows me, in this case, I spent $45 and I made $96. That's a horrible day, okay? Horrible day. But you might say, Dad, turn it off. No, I'm not turning it off. You'll see why in a moment. But I'm like, okay, that was horrible. So I look down below to say, oh my God, if I spent $45 and only made 96, it's only one day's worth, so I wouldn't go crazy about changing things. But imagine this was a longer time frame. I look down below, and when I sort from by revenue, high to low, I noticed that the first item has $302 revenue. The second one has $249. The next one has $188. Did you guys catch on to that? I only made in the last, like yesterday and today, I only made $96 from my ads. How is it that my highest revenue amount item, which is a giraffe item and a baptism item and an invite, has 300, 249, 188? Here's what I noticed. It doesn't give me, on the custom date range, the correct data to show me, oh, which one spent the most? Because if I spent $45, I want to see which one spent the most that didn't really convert, because I could turn them off, because you cannot just a bit anymore, right? Now, I wouldn't turn off after a day or so, but this is just an example. It doesn't give me the correct amounts. Has anybody noticed that? What the hell? But hold on, you might say, Dahlia, relax yourself. It's only because you probably put a custom date range. Aha. But then I put, well, it's quite, and I put the last 30 days and I checked it and also didn't give me a good amount. It didn't add up, but maybe because it moved over to the new Etsy ad dashboard, advertising campaigns, maybe that's why it's not really quite adding up right. But that's still shady, because it's like, you're spending my money. I want to know where it's being spent, right? Shady as hell. So anyway, you can do the same math for yourself. I did last 30 days and I seen how much I made. And then I checked, it doesn't add up. Now, 30 days is a long time, especially if you're spending quite a bit of ads, because you'll have to do a lot of adding on your calculator. Just do a week's worth. So yesterday was the 9th. So I'm going to do from the 3rd to the 9th. Okay. I did this earlier, by the way. I spent 20%, like 23% actually. This is a little high, whatever. But looking at the revenue from ads, it didn't add up. Let's talk about how much it didn't add up, since I keep saying that, right? Let's talk about it. So it shows me I made $1,000, $1,004. Okay, from the 3rd to the 9th. Let me make sure I'm not missing any comments. Okay, I see the comments. I'll get back to that in a second. Oh crap, I forgot my charger. Sweetheart, can you give me my charger? My battery's dying. I'll read the comments while he gets it. You could check your daily spend in your payment account. Thank you, Kathy. While that is true, somebody told me that a while ago. I hate that. How? Are you trying to hide things from me?
You haven't let me listen to you.
Sorry.
You gonna move so you can get in?
Stop. Hold on, guys. I'm just plugging in my thing. You guys like my shirt? All right. Thank you. So while that's true, it seems very unreasonable to hide it there. Don't even get me started. I'm sure many of you don't like that. Anyway, so let's talk about how much. People have noticed it already. Okay. So, but for those of you in the back who are like, I didn't notice that, or tell me, Dahlia, how much did you, okay, let's talk about it. So it shows me I made, no, let's talk about the spend amount, $231. So let's see what it says. Actually, I mean, I could do it. I don't want to because it's gonna take a while, but I think I know why. Because the data you see down below, it doesn't match the time frame. Okay. Now, and I proved that to you because when I did the custom date range from the 9th to the 10th, yesterday and today, it showed me some crazy amounts of revenue I made. I know I didn't sell the item yesterday or today yet. So I know it's not showing me correct data. It's just a mess. Do I have to continue saying it? It's just a mess. And when I look down below of the custom date range, let me just do the math. Let me just do the math. I keep saying, no, I won't, but let me just do it. Give me a second, guys. Make sure I'm not losing my spot here. Okay, so it shows from down below, when I look down below, and I said, okay, if I made $1,000 from revenue, did I really? It shows me I only made 813. And I sorted it from revenue high to low. I'd have to do the same thing for you for the budget. It's the exact same thing. It doesn't add up. Okay. Now here's the thing. You might say, Dad, maybe it's a glitch. Maybe. I need to know. This is a business tool. And granted, I know that I'm selling on a platform and sometimes glitches happen, blah, blah. But like, do I have to explain to you why this is a problem? I don't. I have a hard time articulating. This is obviously a big problem. And it shows that when I look, it shows I only made 813. But then when I look up, it shows I made 1,000. Which is it? Now, granted, I could go physically to my orders, because now orders, let me ask this question in the comments in the post I made yesterday. How could you tell if you get an order from ads? Well, they have this little like microphone icon next to your orders. You'll notice it. And you'll see that. And that's how you know you made, so I can go to those dates orders, find those little icons and do the adding myself. But who got time for that? Now, just to prove some things or another, I might do it once and see. But that's just a mess. So here's the thing. The spend amount being small, they did that on purpose. Okay? The things not adding up could be a glitch. So I'm waiting to see how that rolls around and what they do. So you guys, if you, listen, your voice matters. So if you want to share the feedback, I already have. If you click on the little share feedback button, you can share all the feedback you want. Be very professional. Be very clear and concise in your notes to them so they are aware of what they have to fix. Okay, let's check the comments because I'm obviously behind. Hold on. And I'll tell you some more new things I noticed and then, all that type of stuff. Okay. All right. Mary says, if it gives us the ability to see what we're spending daily and offer more control over stats, I might turn them back on during the holidays, but Google Ads have never performed well for me. Oh, and I'll tell you my results in the last few days. So give me a second. So being forced to use them is a major turnoff. I agree. You could check, like the way they made it sound was like we're doing you a favor. You haven't spent all your daily, like you want to spend $100 a day and you haven't been. So we're gonna optimize it for you so you could spend $100 a day. And we're gonna combine it with Google Ads. Don't get me started. Like, I'm not saying we're not fools, because we're not, but like, I get it. You're a business, Etsy, so you know, I get it. But there's some shady stuff going on here. Anyway, okay. Amanda, I just checked my ads, and they're a lot lower in the search than the actual listing. In the search, I haven't got sales from ads. A lot of clicks, but no sales in a month, so I turned them off. 2-day range give spend for those 2 days. Okay, got it. Thank you, Kathy. So I'm sure that today then it will go up. I mean, throughout the day, just not after the day is over, like it used to be. Okay, got it. Sorry, I just jumped in the conversation. I'm reading the comments, by the way. Julie says she knows that. Melissa says, yes, I've got so effing confused with the data, even when changing the custom range. Heather says, yes, my numbers are way off too. I've had no sales yesterday, but when I look at the revenue, it still shows the last 30 days. It says, the next person says, you have to go back and let it refresh, and then the numbers will refresh. When you do a custom date, details don't always change from the past 30 days time. So let's take a look. What do you mean refresh? If you could clarify what you mean, you have to let it refresh because it doesn't show the data from those days. I don't understand. Let's see. I don't understand. So if you could clarify, I would love to hear. Message retract. Okay. Hell yeah, things are way off. Yep. My sound just went crazy. Okay, fixed. Okay, cool. I just checked September 1st through today, and I'm off by hundreds. Yeah. You know, does it make me question whether or not Etsy's saying I made a certain amount but didn't? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. I don't like to assume that. Are they stealing money from me? I don't like to assume that. That sounds kind of like far-fetched. But I need to see. I need to know. It's frustrating. I think, Bain says, I think the list of listings could be 30 days data. Yes, but if you remove some listings from PL recently, it isn't showing those, I don't think. Well, that's, maybe. I think that's kind of crazy. I haven't removed anything, but it's given me way more. So if it gives me 30 days, but I'm telling you to give me data for 3 days, I know you're giving me the dashboard data for 3 days, but why would it make sense to give me data for the listings for 3 days? Why did you roll out Etsy ads? Not you, Bain, but Etsy. Why'd you roll out Etsy ads if it's not fully done yet? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, well, the old Dahlia. I'm much more disciplined now. Where I would like half-ass things and do things like clean the house or half-ass it, like, you know, just to get something done. We all been through there, right? That's what it feels like. They're trying to get something out and like they have a deadline and it's not quite done yet. Lisa says, for now, I've just decided to put all my budgets extremely low and slowly creep it up over time. Yep. What I recommend, if you're just like, I want to watch it because I don't know what Etsy's up to, put it low and start to go up and see how it performs. Keep it. And by the way, advertising, promoted listings, anywhere you advertise, it's never a passive strategy. Just because you've had a really good several months of ads, it doesn't mean you stop looking at your ad campaigns. Anybody, you know, that's been in business for a while knows that. We don't think about it as a passive, you know, non-passive strategy, but it isn't. Like you have to actively always look at it. Most of the time, hopefully, if things are rolling right, there's no issues with the advertising dashboard, right? There's no issues. You might tweak a couple of things, you know, but usually there's no issues. But it's natural for ad campaigns throughout the year to go a little crazy. It just is, okay? Don't they count it as a sale from the ad, even if the sale comes up X days later? That could be why the data seems wrong or not adding up to the exact sales from those dates. It's very possible, but I did the date of a few days, and one of the highest amount item Like I didn't make that much. Like I didn't make that much in the last few days. Like I know that. And that item hasn't sold in the last few days. So there's the answer. Like I just know that's not it. Now, Moon Lovers Jewelry says, I meant by refresh, I had to do it twice. First time it would still have showed 30 days. So pick the dates a second time and then it showed 2 days value. Good point. Let's test it out. Okay. Now the values on top are right. Aha. You're right. Here we go. Here we go. So I had to do it twice. Like, I don't know your name. I'm sorry. Moon Lovers Julie recommended. Okay. And I am now able to see the stats per item, you know, down below of what brought me my $96 in the last 2 days. I spent $45, which sucks, but what brought me the $96. So now I'm going to take my budget spend from high to low to see what cost me the most. That's what I want you guys to do. What cost me? No, I went back again. Hold on. Let me try to refresh it again. Stupid. Okay, hold on. Okay, it works now. So yeah, you have to do it twice. And if you change a filter, like a sort by, you'll have to go back to the dates and do it again. So here we are. So I could see what I spent my $45 on. Okay, now here, okay. So if we haven't noticed, I'm pretty pissed. I don't know who else is pissed. Let me know down below that we can't change our ad bids because I love that control. I loved seeing that one of my items was spending too much. I'm like, oh, adjust, right? Right now, and I'll show you some math. Actually, I'll just tell you the math I did. I don't have to show you. The math I did on some of the one of the items that was spending too much. You would think Etsy over time realizes that this is way too much to spend on this item. I don't know how Etsy decides something's way too much. For me, 20% is way too much. For you, it may be 10%. For somebody else, maybe 30%, which is a little too high. But that's, you know, you never know who. So how do you decide what's too much for me? You don't know my profit margins, Etsy. You don't know what I'm able to spend per click. Maybe I'm willing to spend more for this item to get found because I'm trying to push this item to beat my competitors' calculator design, right? You don't know. And you don't know if I have a rich uncle who gave me a whole bunch of money ad spend to push my items to the top of search. You don't know that, Etsy. You know, there's a lot of things Etsy doesn't know, and how I want to control my bids. If people wanted to make advertising easy, they could have kept their auto bids on, you know? But that wasn't the real reason why they did it. They did it to make more money. It's okay. They said it. It's fine. Like, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's the truth. So going back to this, I see one of my items for the last 30 days. It cost too much. Now, just for the record, hold on. Before this switched over to Etsy ads, I did take my new items and give it a higher bid. Okay? So that's my doing. I sometimes do certain strategies that may not make sense to outsiders, but I do it to push myself on top of search. Okay? Now, fine. But at this point, I wanted to edit it. But I can't. I can't edit how much being spent on it. Somebody said that they actually take your bid amounts from your previous campaign and rolled it over to Etsy ads. Okay, that's great, but I need to edit it and I can't. I know I said that already, but it's just like how I feel. I'm like, I wanted for a short period of time some of these items. Okay, this is what my process was. I was like, here's my new collection. I'm gonna really push it, like high bids. Okay, I got some money to spend. I want to see how it performs. What do you mean how it performs? Impressions, which is ad views, clicks. So see my click-through rate. Are people interested in this item? Is it attractive enough when they click? So I gather data based on that and based on obviously orders and clicks, so my conversion, and see which ones deserve to be continued to be promoted, which one deserve to be lowered, etc. and so forth. Okay, it gives me some insight more than just am I spending the right amount for my ads? And now I can't adjust them. Okay, so anyway, one of the items that I spent a lot on is being found a lot. Okay, and so for yesterday and today, so far it's been I spent $7. The next one, $2.53. The next one, $2.52. I'm gonna bore you to death. Okay, you get the point. So that's upsetting. One of the other items I had that was a high ad spend, high bid amount before, now is charging me. Wait, did I do that right? Yeah, 35 cents a click. It's still high. So how come over the X amount of days, the ones that are not performing well, whatever that may mean to Etsy, still hasn't lowered in the bid amount per click? How do I know this? Because I saw it each day. I did the amount, and it still hasn't lowered. It's still around the 32-cent range for the other one. If you can't tell, I have a lot of beef. So yeah, this one, I mean, you get the point. And so that's very frustrating that I can't edit. I could only turn off. Now, for those of you who said, how do I optimize this? Is there a way to optimize? So here's the only thing I figured out. And again, this is new to me, just as it's new to you, you know? But, and this takes some work, okay? And we have to also see how Etsy ads kind of graduates. Maybe some things will change, etc. But in the meantime, you have to put a date range that's big enough. So, not big enough, wide enough, like date range, okay? So like we'll say 2 weeks worth. Okay, so I put 2 weeks worth. And essentially what I'm looking for is the search terms for the item. So for example, one of my top items here that I spent a lot of money on, barely made revenue on, okay, don't get me started. I was like, if I decide after a while this is not worth it, I look at the search terms. Let's look at it together. Obviously, you can't see my screen, but you look at the search terms for the item that you're wishing that you could lower the bid on, or you're about to turn it off, and then you see all of the phrases that buyers searched for. And then you see on the right-hand side, high click-through rate, okay, and potentially a high order rate. Now, it's important that you optimize, and you know, it's a whole SEO thing, okay? Now we get into, if you have no idea what to do with SEO, that's a bigger problem, but you look at them and you say, okay, which ones are getting the most impressions? So just impressions alone, not the impressions and the high click-through rate. So I have one that says thank you card. That's too general. That's not relevant enough. Now, granted, I didn't try to target just thank you card because it's part of another phrase. So that's fine. But with my ads, it's what it's targeting. I don't want that phrase. I want baby shower thank you card because it obviously has a high click-through rate. That makes sense. Okay. Personalized stationery, I wouldn't quite target this card for that because it's part of another phrase. So I'm looking at why it's costing me a lot. And I'm looking at, I could take away some of that by editing my SEO, but if it's part of another phrase, it makes it challenging. Or I could turn off the ad campaigns and hope that if I already optimize for these phrases that are shown in here, in my stats from advertising campaigns, show me my top performing search terms, I could then put it into my listing and optimize for it. Okay. But that's difficult because more than likely you probably did give or take optimize for it. You don't know how to optimize for it even more. If you are competing with other people in search, you know, you're like that. I know I'm competing with other people. I just want to pay to get found a little bit more, but not this much. It becomes challenging. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm the first to admit that this will be challenging, as it is right now. Okay, let's see. Kathy says, I'm torn between maxing out my daily spend and promoting only top sellers, which is what I do now, or turn on everything and have a lower spend to see what performs well. What are my thoughts? You can approach this many different ways, okay? My thought, based on what you said, is it depends. Are you tight on cash or are you not? Okay, when I say tight on cash, it's very clear. If you're really tight on cash, then I would say you perform only top sellers and work your way up. See how they perform. Then say, okay, this has been doing decent. I'm spending around 17% cost to revenue ratio, whatever it may be, something that you are happy with. Let me add on a few more. So you might have to work your way up. Like Lisa said earlier, she started low now. She's working her way up. Okay. But if you're like, no, I got some cash to spend, like I'm not too married to it, like I said earlier, then set your daily budget, something you're comfortable with. Okay. And then you could start a little bit more. I decided to go the opposite route. Not because I have tons of money to spend. Okay, I'm not on a super budget, but I'm just saying. Then I'm watching it as it's high. Like I decided to start backwards and say, okay, it's high. I left it as is. let's see how things perform, and I'll turn things off as I go. I can't edit the bid amounts like I used to be able to. Listen, there's no way around it. At this current moment, we have much less control. So I don't want to hear, Delia, how do you recommend doing this? Like, there's only so much we could do, right? And I will probably give you some, you know, like to Kathy's example, some advice on how to approach it. You know, I mentioned, oh, I did this training in our group a long time ago. So look for the Facebook Live in our main Facebook group about promoted listings. Actually, I have it on YouTube. How to do promoted listings and Amazon ads the right way. That's what it's called. So check it out. Yes, you can start with your most popular items. You can start with your items that convert really well. So it's not about the most popular. So ones that maybe barely sold, but when people do find it, they convert really well. You can start with those as well. You can also start with things that are relevant to the time period. So right now, if you have Halloween items, that may be relevant. I don't get into Halloween, but nonetheless, you know, maybe when Easter comes around, you do Easter-related items, etc. Right? So that's the way you would approach it if you're trying to pace yourself. Okay, that's my advice. Kathy, yes, good point. I did not notice this. Kathy says she does not like that you can't see stats on items that are not turned on. That is ridiculous, because essentially what I would like Etsy to show me is that, hey, here are the stats, and by the way, this item is currently turned off. So they could have a little like a toggle button. Remember the toggle button? I love that. They make it so hard to turn things on and off. Why is that? You know why. You know why? Because Etsy. When I go to change advertised listings, I go, oh, I want to take off the ones I don't want. It doesn't show me my stats for that item. I have to, which I did, by the way. I didn't take off anything, but I was making a list of things that were not performing well. I had to write star stationery, cactus stationery. Like I had to like identify which is what. Okay, and I do have SKUs on my items, but still. Then I had to go there and say, okay, let me change the one. I have to look for it. It's so inconvenient. And I'm not sure if I did it on purpose. But I will tell you, can I be honest with you? It was so inconvenient, I decided to give up on taking it off. Etsy won. Okay, I'm not sure if that was their intention, but they literally won. Now, granted, if I was broke as a joke, I would have taken the time to take those off, right? But part of me was like, okay, 20-something% is not, like it is not a good amount, but it wasn't that crazy for me. And I still want to pace myself to see how it performs. Another thing is a different thing. Like because I'm the handmade mastermind, sometimes I do put myself through spending more and testing my listings so I could tell you guys results. So sometimes I do put my listings on the line or my money on the line. I do. So I could kind of like tell you what I've seen, you know. Hence the only reason why I even did Google Ads to begin with when they had it separate. I was not a fan of doing it, period, because I'm like, if I'm going to drive traffic to my shop and pay for it from outside traffic, I'm going to drive it to my .com, right? Right. Then I was like, oh, people keep asking me, I must try because I'm the handmade mastermind. Not that I know everything like it, but I want to give my advice and my, like, I tried it, here's what I got. I tried it, it sucked. And I did that Facebook Live a long time ago. Anyway, back to the comments. Correct, Melissa. Correct. Melissa has an item that's listed for $5 and Melissa's listed for $45. She wouldn't have the same bid amount for both. Absolutely not. If you learned what I taught you in the Mastermind Strategy group, for those of you who are in the Mastermind Strategy group, it's the exclusive coaching program. You know that your bid amount has to correlate with your price amount. I mean, obviously. And so, yeah, does it make sense? Heather says, I've been running around, and I'm about to go check the questions you guys had in the group in just a moment. Let me answer these last few questions. I've been running around 150% over last year. Fantastic. Since rolling out Etsy ads, I'm down 50% from last year. I know it's early, but I'm worried about the holidays sales already with those numbers. I'm gonna talk about that. Oh, this one again? Oh. See enclosed? Okay.
Yeah, it's for the previous line before for the registry. Same line with the registry.
What color is this? Fuchsia?
Fuchsia.
Yeah. So here's my thought. It's too soon to tell. Heather is right. Heather, you're right. It's too soon to tell because the reality is if you're looking at how much worth of data, 2 weeks, I'm assuming, down 50% is still kind of concerning. If you were up 150, like down 50, it's like, what? 2 weeks is maybe enough to be like, not enough to really say something's going on. However, it's important, Heather. Heather, you're in my mastermind strategy group. You know what to do. Just to remind you, go to your stats from when you were up compared to the last 2 weeks when you're down. What is down? Remember, when you're down, it comes from listings. Well, first of all, it comes from it comes from either views, conversion rates, average order value. Something went down. Heather, you know this. Just refresh your memory, go back to that training in our private group, and you'll see, you can look at the cliff notes in there. Identify where it's coming from. When you're comparing previous 2 weeks of awesomeness to 2 weeks, 2 weeks of bad sales. And then you say to yourself, okay, where did it come from? Is it views? Is it conversion rate? Is it blah, blah? Then when you do that, you identify which listings it came from. Okay. That may give you insight as to what's going on. Is it the Etsy ads? Is it, oh no, you just fell off the search, or is it whatever? Okay. Okay. So I saw a girl post in an Etsy group. She's spending 1K a day. I don't know what her budget is, but if her budget's 1K, I don't know many people that actually have a budget like that, but she's probably a high volume seller that got approved for that much per day. They didn't give that to me. I don't sell that much. All right. So I've always edited according to my stats, and it's so frustrating now. Correct. I just checked, and my bids are now approximately 60 cents per item when I had all my bids used to be 15, 20 cents before. Interesting, because I wasn't sure if they carried over. Apparently in this case, it did not carry over. Okay. I'm still profitable, but I'm positive that this is happening because of Google ads. This is frustrating. Anyway, got to run capture replay. Okay, sounds good. Let me go answer the questions from the group so we could wrap this up. Okay. So again, I don't know everything. I will try my best. I'll give you my advice. Okay. Oh, before I get to the questions, I see them right in front of me. Hold on. Oh wait, that's not that it. Okay, there it is. Exciting news. The email list webinar is going through updates as we speak. Okay. I'm very excited about it. I mentioned a few of the updates in my Instagram stories, so you might have seen that. More about that over the next several weeks, where we're going to talk about in our YouTube lives, email list strategy and all that stuff. Okay. But if you already have the course, hold on to your seats, because I came up with so much exciting stuff. Like, I can't even speak. Anyway, more about that another time. All right. So what are the questions? Samara says, would it be a good idea to duplicate listings for ads now? Should we only be setting up ads for bestsellers and new listings? So I'm not sure about the whole duplicate listings for ads. I don't know what that means or how that would benefit. So I apologize, as I don't understand that question. But should we be setting up ads for bestsellers and new listings? So I mentioned it earlier. I think it was Kathy's question. You know, there's a YouTube live about it, a YouTube video about it. So check it out. Setting up, if you're unsure, or, you know, you could, there's many ways to approach it. You could see what you're doing now and kind of take away, or you can start from the bottom and add on. But if you're like, no, I kind of be in the middle, you could start with your best sellers and the highest converting listings, and then relevant items. Okay. But again, like I mentioned early on, set your daily budget, something you're comfortable with. Okay. Gabby says, should we optimize the listings we want to advertise to Google instead of Etsy? Not necessarily, because like, how would you do that? How would you optimize the listings you want to advertise to Google instead of Etsy? Meaning you would turn on the ads for items you want to advertise on Google. Why not advertise them on both? Obviously, if it was up to us, we'd only advertise on Etsy, right? But how would you, Gabby, decide, and I'm not sure she's on the call, which one you want to advertise to Google? I'm a little bit confused by that question as well, so I apologize again. So now, And Kita says, just wondering how to optimize the ads and how to gauge what should be turned off. You can't optimize ads. What you got is turn it on and turn it off. And the only other thing you could do is change your daily budget. Now, interestingly enough, I passed this by, but I didn't read it in full. If you look at your ad spend, how much you spend, and then you go to the little question mark, the tooltip, it's called, you hover over it. It says to make sure your ads get maximum visibility, Google may spend more than your daily budget. What? I'm not looking for maximum visibility. I'm looking to spend my only daily budget at sea. Can you tell I'm frustrated? Like, fine, $1 more than my daily budget, fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just fine. But anyway, especially on busy days and less on slower traffic days, your ad spend will even out by the end of the month. So you're always within your budget. So the daily may go up and down, but by the end of the month, you will even out, it's telling you. Whatever, Etsy. So, can you tell I'm frustrated? All right. So, I gotta take away some crazy comments in here. All right. So, before I continue with the questions, let me go back here. A positive thought for me is that with all this confusion, a lot of people are shutting down Etsy ads, and hopefully it's my competitors. Funny enough, I thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing. Listen, if you're rolling your eyes at me, we are all, hold on. We're all competitors of some sort. We're all in it to make money, and I make more money when people don't buy from my competitor, so this makes sense. Okay, yeah, I see that. I took it away. So let's continue. I noticed at first that when I turned on a new item or item that has never been promoted, my spend was high, like $20 a day for that one item. Holy smokes. It's a mess. It's a mess. So I see the other comments. Let me read this one first. Wait, did you say the ads can't be optimized? Well, only so. How would you optimize them? Right? The sheer idea of optimizing is taken away from us. Can't change the bid amount. So I got nothing. Sorry, I'm trying to find my spot here. Where do I find now how much is the bid per listing? Well, you have to do a little math, right? So you have to go to your ad spend, let's say $6, and divide that by how many clicks you had. So $6 divided by, let's say, 20 clicks, and that's 30 cents. That's how you do it. The keyword data is not gone. From what I see, it's still there. How do you figure out your ROI percentage? Revenue divided by spend. It's spend divided by revenue times 100. Okay. So bid in and out is the keyword data for sure. Okay, I already mentioned that. Thought I heard you mention that the high impression data click, but not sure if that's what's from the old ads or now. So I can't see any data yet from the new. So it may be gone. I'm not 100% sure. I was looking at the last 2 days when I did that. Is it gone? Does anybody know if it's gone? Yeah, a lot of spam today. All right, no big deal. We keep moving on. I'm learning how to use the delete features and how to block people. So sorry, it took me a hot minute. So can anybody confirm whether or not it will show you the data, search term data, after the switch was made to Etsy ads? Somebody confirm. If only Dahlia could create a webinar to teach Etsy how to do things properly. I'm not saying I know everything, but all right. So interestingly enough, Kathy says, on the positive, this has all helped me refocus on Handmade at Amazon and my website. Let me tell you something really quick, guys, okay? Love that, Kathy. Love it. But I want everybody not to wait for things like this. You guys know I'm a very big fan of being proactive. We all should be. But it's important that you need, sometimes it is a blessing in disguise. I need you to always diversify everything you do. You know, learn how to get your own traffic, you know, get your own website, learn how to bring traffic to that website, get on Amazon, get on eBay, whatever else, you know, whatever it is. And so it's just, I don't want you guys to wait for something like this. Sometimes it does take something like this to happen, but sometimes it's too late for some people. Okay. So I've heard people say that their monthly holy budget spend in a day. Wow, which is absurd. Even if it worked, would you be able to handle 3 times your average day of orders? Yeah. If you're asking me personally, yeah. We could, everybody would start printing. Do you see this? You see these? See all these printers? Those boxes are full of printers. I get my assistant designer to print. I can stop everything while I'm doing in print. I'm not worried about that. But granted, yes, I see that, and it's not everybody's not able to do that, you know. I will educate myself on Etsy ads. I use Facebook ads. You know, I haven't used Facebook ads. I have it on my list to eventually do, amongst a few other things. You know, we're growing substantially here. Knock on some wood. Oh, this is real wood. But you know, I'm hoping to eventually get into, because what I like to usually do when I get to something, I try to master it. Anyway, you're at 49%. Holy smokes. Okay, let me continue with the questions. So yes, and Kia says, is it, you know, how do I know if I get sales from Google Ads or Etsy? You can't, I don't know if there's a way to tell if you got sales from Google Ads. I don't know if there's a way to tell if you got from Etsy, because that little horn icon, but otherwise I don't know at this moment. Dawn says, I'm thinking for low budget buyers of the new Etsy ads, this could be bad. I agree, because I don't know. So at this moment, I don't know how Etsy optimizes the ads based on how it performs. When does Etsy decide, oh, this is spending too much, or spending too little? You know for a fact that I'm not sure if their high alerts are on for like, oh, this is spending too much. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And here's a reality. I can't know. We've all received the Etsy ad dashboard, advertising, whatever, around the same time. It would be impossible for me to know, because I need some time to test some things out, you know? And for those of you who are like, things are going crazy on my Etsy ads and I don't know what to do, I'll reiterate, okay? Bring your daily budget down to a very, very, you know, reserved amount. And if it's really going crazy, I would start small and go up. And it could be start small on your daily budget and leave everything still advertising, okay? And then slowly creep up, or start small and take away items that are really performing horribly. But Etsy ads is only going for 1 to 2 weeks, so you may need a little bit more time to see how it's performing, okay? Jennifer says, my biggest concern is a complete loss of control of CPC. or even where you advertise. Absolutely, that's the biggest things that are affecting us. I worked very hard to tailor my CPC in order for my ads to be highly profitable. You're telling me that, Jennifer? Trust me, I did a whole, like, yes, I'm with you. Like, I did work really, really hard on that, and I've always continuously worked hard. I do that on Etsy, and I did that on Amazon, you know? So it's ridiculous. Bain says, what time period is your stats for individual advertised listings? It's not the same time frame. You selected on top. Maybe it's the last month. Definitely old Etsy PL numbers in there. I think so, but if you're referencing when you change the dates and you see old data, it's we have to do it twice, as somebody mentioned earlier. And yes, somebody asked the question, are Etsy ads promoted listings? Yes. Well, it's the new version. Okay. Laurel says, I'd love to hear a clear answer on the best ways to manipulate and tweak our listings and offerings now that Etsy ads have taken over. Since we can't tweak our ad spend anymore, we spent $25 on a $24 sale yesterday. What's our best plan of action? Best plan of action is to wait a little bit longer to see how it comes out. I also want to mention that I don't know if that $24 sale will eventually go up, because if people come and buy later, like the next day, you know what I'm saying? If it shows then that increased amount. There's a lot of questions that are unanswered because we only had this for a short amount of time. That's why I said don't do anything yet. Okay. Michelle says, if everyone advertises, how do you get seen in the crowd? Well, that's a thing we've always had concern with, because the advertising platform was always available to everyone. I did a Facebook Live in the group about standing out amongst the crowd. Nothing to do particularly with ad spend, but in short, guys, you know, there's a lot more facets to our business besides spending money on ads. How do you stand out when you do actually get the sale, or how do you stand out when you do actually get somebody to view your item? Many things. I mean, your design, your photos, your professionalism, your branding. I mean, there's so many facets. So if you're listening to this and rolling your eyes, then you're in the wrong YouTube Live, because I'm here to teach business owners how to excel, not just by like small little tiny tools, like just like ads or whatever. It's the bigger picture, right? So if you're missing things from the bigger picture, that's what you have to really start with. Okay. Priscilla says, as most people are visual shoppers like myself, as a buyer, I'm more interested in Google image search than Google shopping. Interesting. You know, depending on what I'm searching for, I use both. I'm visual as well. Google Shopping does provide visuals. If I know I'm trying to look for something that I want to buy, I would definitely hit the shopping section. It just depends. Kathy says the search term results are from last 30 days. Oh, okay. I love when you say exactly what I'm thinking. I think we're all thinking it, right? So you're right. They're probably not concerned about Etsy ad spending too much. Yep. Bucky says, SEO, I have to go, but I can definitely help you later. Help me with what? I'll DM you later. I don't know what you mean. Help who? I'm not sure. Anyway, okay. So we're way past the hour, guys. And I feel like I covered quite a bit. And so let's talk about, in short, what you're left with. If you're like, okay, I got the YouTube Live, I learned a lot, that's cool, I still feel overwhelmed, what do I do? Going back to what I said originally, fix your daily budget to something you're super comfortable with. And again, somebody mentioned earlier that they're starting low and going high. And that may mean every day she's looking at it, every few days she's looking at it and saying, okay, it's performing, let me increase, along with, if you want. Now, you could do either one. There's no definite answer here, but you could say, okay, I'm leaving all my listings being advertised, and I'm just going to increase my daily budget. Or you could say, I'm going to take away most of my listings being advertised because it's out of control.